Proof eating mushrooms and sea moss is not a sin. What's
You've been
going
lied
on?
to. That's what you should have
You
added. You've been
being
lied to.
oh man, maybe not maliciously.
Yeah, of course.
Look at this comment. Peace and blessings, Don Scott. Maybe we'll put a link in the chat, smack you up a little bit theologically. First and foremost, everybody, let's give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. That's all praises to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I'm Priest Sakai, aka Deacon Genesis. Joined by my brother
Hassad.
Hassad.
That was supposed
Hi.
Yeah. Hassad, what's going on, everybody? Y'all know the deal.
Y'all know the dealio. Hit that like button, y'all. Fall in, climb in. We're going to get into some good edification. It is Shabbat Shalom for the lunar Sabbath keepers and the Roman calendar beast system keepers as well. So peace to y'all. All praises to the mighty God. Hit that like button, y'all. Fall in, climb in. We're about to get started. What's going on inside, man? Anything new? Any news? What's going on, my brother?
Well, Jesus is coming back soon, so thank God for that. All praise to the Most High. Shout out to the brothers from Yahweh's Law Keepers out there in Detroit. I definitely need to make my way up there, Lord willing, this summer or something like that. But yeah, make sure that y'all tune in for tonight's class because through the Spirit we've been trying to tackle subjects that are, I guess you can call them controversial within the community, but we're approaching it from obviously a good and sincere place. So this is not to stir the pot. This is not to further sow discord and push division, but this in particular is something that Deacon and I both have taught at one point and have instructed people, hey, you cannot do this. You cannot eat sea moss. You cannot eat mushrooms. And so in an attempt to, rectify some of those wrongs and give a clear understanding, as well as just to give some good information, we are making this video tonight.
Can we eat duck? No. You look at the Hebrew word there, that family of fowls, the ducks are included in that family of fowls that are prohibited. Yeah, y'all, fall in, climb in. Let's get a few more people in here before we start this presentation. Hope all is well. Y'all got some questions before we start? Proof eating mushrooms and sea moss is not a sin. Without a shadow of a doubt, it will be proven today through the Spirit. Through the Spirit.
Yeah, make sure y'all get y'all questions in, because y'all be asking all kind of questions when it ain't time for questions. And then when it is time for questions, y'all know what I'm saying. I just totally got it backwards. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. Just get ready for this presentation. Get your what's the lion mushroom? What's the one I'm talking about? Digging the lion's mane mushroom, the big one.
Yeah, I don't really like mushrooms like that. He said, but on Google,
get your the black rice.
I can't believe you guys did that. That shit was horrible. Excuse my language. Haitian food is disgusting. Haitian food is absolutely 100% horrible.
Yeah.
These guys made me drive when I was in Atlanta. Hassan made me drive to bum frick Egypt for some Haitian food. It was T-rash.
Yeah.
He said on Google duck is kosher. So is on Google oral circumcision is kosher too. You gotta be careful with Google, brother.
Yeah, Deacon, that's a horrible take. We just lost viewers. we just lost viewers and subscribers. Haitian food goes crazy, but
yeah, it's crazy, man. That T-rash, T-Rickosaurus Rex. Okay, somebody asked a question. Go ahead. Let's get some of these questions before we get started.
Somebody asked Proverbs 34, is that about Christ or Israel? When it says, what is his name? What is his son's name? If thou canst tell. You said, is it Christ or is it Israel? Let me take a look at the surrounding context because I'm familiar with the passage, but
it's Christ.
Yeah,
it's the Messiah. They know the name of Israel. What do you see, Hassan? What is it contextually? What makes you say it's Israel, brother?
No, I didn't say it's Israel. I just wanted
not him. I'm talking about not you, the brother.
Yeah.
What about MSG? MSG is sadly in everything. Yeah. Turkey's clean to eat. Yes, turkey's clean. Google is a form of opinions and links. Can't always be trusted. Oh, this is a good one. We should do a class on this. I will say this, though, for a 100% fact, halal meat is sacrificed to idols. So you can go in there and get a salad, some rice, some falafel, but their meat, they pray in the name of Allah, the God of the Arabs, and they sacrifice that meat. That meat is idolatry. If you eat it, that will be spiritual fornication.
So did the last Adam exist before the first Adam in 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 45? Yeah, in a sense.
This is the reason why we don't say that man was created on the sixth day. Not only that, the Bible says that, because it's like, how can Yahushua be doing the creating and be Adam at the same time? Shows you that Adam was made on the sixth day, and then humans were the first crop of humanity was made on the fifth day. All right, a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna get started on this presentation. It is the new moon. It is the new moon tonight.
Yes,
it's the new moon tonight, y'all. So make sure y'all are keeping that law. I hope everybody, excuse me, has a good one. All praises. Also, too, if y'all want to donate to the camp, donations are accepted and needed, as we need them to do things and operate as a camp at the Deacon Genesis. I'm sorry, I was putting the email out. Cash App is the Deacon Genesis. Cash App is the Deacon Genesis. If you want to support to the ministry and the body and the camp. All right, y'all. Greatly appreciate it. All right. Look at my banners. Shout out to the 12 tribes of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. If there's not any more questions, let's get right into the presentation. Put them bombs in the chat. Shout out to, Make Babylon Great Again. That's the sister's line. Go support the sister. YasharalaTrends.com. And then this is the brother at AboveAllNations.shop, I believe. I'll be wearing these outside. Great conversation starters. This girl was like, is your hat political? The devil came up to him and was like, oh, a Jamaican, because the Jamaican niggas, they really, Benjamin, they think they're the first ones to realize America's Babylon. Big G's, not the little ones. Put them bombs in the chat. Put them big G's in the chat. All praises. No, we're not taking magic mushrooms, bro. That's just like asking me if you can do heroin. You already know, sister. All praises. That is the sister's clothing line right there. Put a link to your clothing. Put a link to these hats in the chat, Sister Des. All praises. Big G's, not the little ones. All right, y'all.
I don't get free hats. I don't get. No, I'm
playing. What type of fish do I eat? Chilean sea bass.
Branzini.
Bronzino. Salmon. Cod sometimes. All right, y'all. So let's get started on this presentation. All praise to the Most High. Brother Solomon McFadden, the water for the super chat donation. Greatly appreciate you for supporting the ministry, y'all. Like, share. Oh, Red Snapper. What am I thinking? I forgot about my Red Snapper. Red Snapper's at 1-1.
Northwest Rainbow Trout.
Yeah. All right. So Without further ado, y'all, let's get into this presentation. Scales and fins out of the water, fruit and veggies. Somebody said, "Nah, I definitely threw Hassad a t-shirt, never threw it on though." Hassad, he sent you one and you didn't throw it on, bro. You ain't right, bro. I'm
I
telling
think
you.
it might have been our understanding that it was mixed at the time, and it's then
Really? Oh,
I
okay.
could be wrong, but send another one. You're rich. No plan.
Hey, do it again.
Yeah, make sure you hit play too, King. Yeah,
Got you. All right, y'all. It's taking forever. All right, let me pull it up on my
All right, y'all. My bad, Big Yasharala. All right, y'all. So without any further ado, make sure y'all like and share the video. Make sure y'all take notes. Because according to Deuteronomy 4:2, it says we are not allowed to add to nor take away from the word. So we want to make sure that what we're teaching is in accordance with with that in mind. Marsha Hicks said, "Why do you charge us to learn? How much money did you pay to watch this live stream? Zero. So
oh my god.
you're gonna be quiet. Just repent."
What is wrong with people, man?
We need to play that, Sister Marsha. I don't want to be disrespectful, but there is something on the soundboard that I really, really want to play.
All praises.
All right. So, is sea moss? Is it a sin to eat sea moss and mushrooms? So we'll first start with sea moss, or
Seaweed,
yeah.
sea moss. Look at this nice. Look at this. Look at this. This nice, healthy. It's sea moss all in the waters right there. Y'all like my imagery? Sea moss all in that water, right? What is sea moss? Go ahead. You can.
So
We'll go back and forth.
Scientifically known as Chondrus crispus, is a type of algae or seaweed. It grows in waters along the rocky Atlantic coast, primarily between North America and Europe. It's an edible sea plant similar to other seaweeds, algae, and other leafy sea vegetables like kelp or was that dulce? Dulce? Like Dulce and Gabbana.
Dolce.
It says sea moss grows in several colors, such as shades of green, yellow, purple, red, brown, and black. The most common varieties that grow in the warmer waters are generally
Red.
red and often called Irish moss.
Mm-hmm.
Some people appeal to Leviticus 11 to say seaweed/sea moss is prohibited. Let's examine.
Go ahead.
So what we're going to do is we're going to approach this from the, I think you taught me Rogerian perspective. So we're not going to just, this is what they teach this and it's wrong. Here's why. But no, we're going to not only do that, but we're going to give the explanation as to why they say it's wrong and examine it and then give the understanding, right? So Leviticus 11:9. Prior, it gives the commandments about the land animals, right? So it says, "These shall you eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall you eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas," this is where they'll start. This is where they'll start to build the argument. It says, "And all that have not fins and scales in the seas," they'll say all means anything. Okay, so just put the pin in that. So all means anything. Okay. "And in the rivers of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you." So the perspective is going to be, it says anything that's in the waters that does not have fins and scales, you are not allowed to eat. That's what their perspective is going to be. Now, obviously, sea moss, seaweed, do not have fins and scales. So that would be their argumentation. So we'll continue on. As you can see, the context is referring to creatures, not vegetation. It's not talking about vegetables, right? Of all that move in the waters, of any living thing. Because you might have brothers say, well, isn't sea moss a thing? Contextually, no, it's not. And I'm going to demonstrate. This is the Hebrew word napash, Strong's H5315. Napash is the word. And look what it says. Soul, life, creature, person, appetite, mind, living being, desire, emotion, passion. A seaweed does not have any motion. If you kick a dog, it's gonna if you kick a tree, it's not gonna ow. If you go up to a bush and punch it, it's not gonna. Vegetation is not in the posh. I would challenge anybody who believes that Leviticus 11 is in reference specifically from verses 9 on down, that believes that it's in reference to sea moss, seaweed, or anything of the related sort, to illustrate any time in the Bible where napash is used for vegetation. I've never seen that, not one time.
Mm-hmm.
As we see, real quick too, as we see with the entire chapter of Leviticus 11, when it talks about these are the fowls that you are allowed to eat, when it talks about these are the land creatures you are allowed to eat, when it talks about even the certain insects that we are allowed to eat and not allowed to eat, these are all sentient beings with emotions. You know, a plant is not that. Like plankton, I know we watch SpongeBob, and plankton has emotions in SpongeBob. The actual plankton do not have thoughts and emotions. All right. So I challenge. Oh wow, look at that! Yeah, I challenge anyone to show where the Hebrew in the posh, and we're locked in, Deacon. There we go. It's a problem when we're locked in. I challenge. I double, triple dog dare anyone to show where napash is in reference to vegetation. Leviticus 11 and 11. Now, just again, that's their argumentation that we presented in verse 9. But now we have to ask ourselves serious questions. Look at verse 11. They shall be even an abomination unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh. So seaweed has flesh? No, it does not have flesh. A cow has flesh. A bird has flesh. A donkey. These are things that have flesh. They do not have flesh. They are a vegetable. It says, but you shall have their carcasses in abomination. So if we were to go to a restaurant and order a Caesar salad, you're telling me that that's flesh and carcass that you're eating?
Damn.
I have to be serious. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to brothers that have this understanding. I once shared this understanding, but it just does not make sense. Right? If you go to the front lawn and you pick up a patch of grass, and then so let me get this straight, Deacon. Right? So if I go to the front lawn and I uproot a patch of grass and I throw it in the street, did I just throw a bunch of dead carcasses in the street?
No, remember what you told me? Let's say you're let's say you're running on the beach, right? And
Right.
Some seaweed touches your feet while you're running on the beach. You're now an abomination.
Yeah, you just touched an abomination. You're completely unclean. And put a 1 in the chat if you've been to certain beaches or certain lakes and seas. There's no way that you can go into the ocean via the beach and not touch seaweed or sea moss. It's all over. There's all these dead carcasses all over the beach. All right, let's keep going. Deacon, next slide.
Oh no, you didn't read verse 12.
Oh, my bad. Verse 12. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. It's in reference to creatures that have flesh, that when they die, their body leaves a carcass. Seaweed does not have a carcass. Sea moss does not have flesh or carcass.
We're locked in. We're laser locked in.
Okay, so now look at the conclusion. This is one of the most important parts. I need everybody to listen to this part. This in Leviticus 11. Let me pull it up on my screen. I'm not going to share it, but I just want to make sure. So Leviticus 11 has 47 verses. And the conclusion starts at verse 46. The conclusion of the text starts at verse 46. And look what the conclusion of Leviticus 11 is. This is the law of the beasts and of the fowl and of every living creature that moveth in the waters. When you look at seaweed, it's not moving the same way your grass doesn't move. Now, someone might make the argument, well, there's the floating seaweed, or I haven't seen any of that. Nonetheless, the clear context right here is in reference to creatures that are able to move, like a fish. When you go stick your head in the water in the ocean, you're going to see fish swimming, moving. Number one, and number two, and more importantly, it again calls them the living creature. A seaweed, a sea moss, what is it? The nori that you put on the Japanese people eat with their rice is not a creature. It is a vegetable. It's vegetation. Period, point blank. All right.
Same word.
Same word, Napash. There you go.
Yeah, the same word for living thing earlier is the same word for creature here.
And even look at definition 3, living being, and then it, in parentheses, with life in the blood.
Damn.
Again, I challenge anyone to show where the Hebrew word napash is ever, like, you guys, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. Well, I mean literally ever, like ever. Like forever, ever, forever, like ever. Show me anytime, one place, ever, where napash is specifically used in reference to vegetation. And you can't say Leviticus 11. I'm asking you specifically, show me anywhere outside of that, because that's what the disputed text is Leviticus 11. So anyone should be able to show me outside of Leviticus 11 where napash is in reference to vegetation. Ever. Show me one time ever.
All right, I got a typo, man. Somebody said there's a typo on vegetation. You get it, man. Look at this, vegetation, brother. Now let's move on to mushrooms. Let's keep going. Go ahead, brother. You're in the spirit, King.
Yeah, and put a 1 in the chat if you understand thus far concerning the sea moss and
Yeah. Let's back out to see if there's any smoke on that. How do I okay, there we go. If there's any smoke. Oh.
I hope that makes sense. Okay, we got a 2 in the chat. That's Nadab. He's just talking. He's just being funny, or he hit the wrong button, or he's bugged out.
Yeah, he's bugged out.
Yeah, that's very possible.
He's bugged out.
Yeah. Now, me personally, I don't like. You know what's like? I don't like sea moss. I don't like seaweed, and I don't like mushrooms either. So this really means nothing to me. But what does mean something to me is not being guilty of adding unto the law. Now, I'm not even going to necessarily say that the brothers who are and sisters who are teaching that it's a sin to eat mushrooms and sea moss are. I didn't believe I was adding to the law when I taught it, because that was my genuine understanding. But because we do not currently have that understanding anymore, if I was to continue to teach it, I would be violating Deuteronomy 4 and I would be lying. All right, so good. We can move on to the next
one. All right, let's keep going. Let me share my screen. Don't talk about my typos or I'm timing you out, yo. I'm timing you out, yo. All right, the mushrooms portion is fire. You guys gonna get some good side information as well. All right. It's a lot of mushroom eaters. It's a lot of go ahead, brother.
Now, we've talked about sea moss, we talked about seaweed, plankton. Is it a sin to eat mushrooms? People appeal to Genesis chapter 1, verse 29 to say mushrooms are not grown from seeds, therefore they are forbidden. I once taught this, Genesis 1 and 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. Now, you is also important because there's a immediate context to who God is speaking to right here. And it says, I've given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Next one. It is true, mushrooms don't come from seeds. Fact. Eating mushrooms would be a sin if, here's the point, everyone, I need y'all pay attention, if we were under the Adamic covenant, which Genesis 1 and 29 was during that time. Does everybody understand that? Genesis 1 has an immediate context, an immediate audience. We are not the people that Genesis 1 and 29 applies to. And we're going to give the other examples to back up what we're saying momentarily, but I hope everybody understands that. Okay. So it says, if we were under the Adamic covenant, it would also be a sin to eat meat.
Bow.
Yeah, because they didn't eat meat back then. So if we're going to base all of our, our dietary restrictions on what Adam and them ate, well, Adam and them didn't eat chicken. So take your brown stew chicken, your curry chicken, and all
No,
other.
not even that they didn't eat them. The commandment was that they could only eat herbs. The same verse in question, as we'll get to it.
Huh. It says we wouldn't be able to eat yeast, as yeast also does not come from seed.
No more bread, brother. No more bread, bro. No more bread bowls. Go ahead.
It says if we were still under the Adamic covenant, we would all have to be vegan. The very verse in question proves that under the Adamic covenant, we had to be vegan and our herbs had to come from seeds. So again, if we're going to use that verse to say that we can't eat mushrooms, then you should stop eating bread and you should stop eating meat. Pause. It says Genesis 1:29. And God said, behold, I've given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for me. It's clear what he tells us there, right? We weren't allowed to eat meat, pork, beef.
No. Yeah.
We weren't allowed to eat meat, pork and all, until the Noahic covenant. So all manner of meat. We weren't allowed to eat any meat at all until the Noahic covenant. Now look at this, Genesis 9, and this is when I made mention earlier that we're going to give examples to kind of illustrate our position. Here's where we're going to start to do that. So in Genesis 9, look what it says, and God blessed Noah and his sons. Notice there's an immediate context. Are we Noah and his immediate children that God gave this message to? No. So we are not the people that are being spoken to in Genesis chapter 9. This is a descriptive text, not a prescriptive text. What does that mean? Are we using fancy words? No. A descriptive text is a text that's simply just describing what took place right here in Genesis 9. Whereas a prescriptive text, like we just got done reading Leviticus 11, is telling us, it's prescribing to us what we are, able to do. I hope that makes sense. So in Genesis 9:1, it says, and God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Why? Because the flood just took place. Notice still there is an immediate context. Replenish the earth, because almost every human died. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that move upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Look at this, you guys. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Mm-hmm. So are we allowed to eat pork? Because right here it says every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for us. Well, obviously not, because the Mosaic covenant tells us that we are not allowed to. So we are not under the Noahic covenant. That's why we're not allowed to eat pork. And similarly, we are not under the Adamic covenant, which is why we are allowed to do things that the people under the Adamic covenant were not able to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So from the Adamic covenant to the Noahic covenant, mankind was vegan. And then we were allowed under the Noahic covenant to eat any type of meat we wanted to, pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, and all. And then up to the Mosaic covenant, we got the dietary laws, those restrictions.
Put a 1 in the chat if specifically this example, what we just brought out here in Genesis 9, that makes sense. Genesis 9 is the Noahic covenant. That's for Noah and his immediate sons, right? We are not under that covenant. We were given a covenant later, the Mosaic covenant, that prescribes to us rather that we are not allowed to eat certain foods. So I'm gonna repeat it again. I made mention of it earlier. The same way that we are not allowed to eat whatever we want because we're not under the Noahic covenant, we are allowed to eat certain things that people under the Adamic covenant were not able to. So I hope that makes sense. I know I'm talking kind of fast, so we can move on though.
He said 1, but go slow. Right.
Yeah.
Now watch this. 2 people asked, what about the clean and unclean? Now watch this. Go ahead.
Side note. So if we could eat all things under Noah, why was there clean and unclean animals on the ark? Is this a contradiction?
Now I want to see if we got some prophets in the chat. If we could eat all things under the Noahic covenant, why was there clean and unclean under the Noahic covenant? Let's see if we got some prophets in the chat. If we could eat all things under Noah, why was there clean and unclean under Noah? Good thing the Bible tells us. Somebody said Adam was given the law, but we wasn't able to eat meat under Adam, so that couldn't be the answer. Nadab, what the heck? Nadab, man, I didn't know you was on the level, brother. No, good job, brother. Go ahead.
Side note: of every clean beast, thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. This is in reference to sacrifice, not what we could eat. Genesis 8:20. And Noah built an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Verse 21. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, nor the imagination of man's heart is evil from for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, neither will I again smite anymore every living thing as I have done.
Right. So the clean and unclean is for sacrifice, not what could be eaten. Because under the Adamic covenant, there was animal sacrifice as well. Okay, go ahead.
So we are under the Mosaic covenant, not the Adamic covenant, not the Noahic covenant. I hope everybody understands that. We're under the Mosaic covenant. Exodus 19:5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant. This is the covenant the Heavenly Father made through Moses, through us, to us. Then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Verse 6, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel. So we are under the Mosaic covenant, Deuteronomy 4:44, further proving it. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt. Leviticus 26:46. Now we're getting three witnesses. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses.
This is key right here. Harp on this.
Yes. If it's not reiterated in the law of Moses, which is the old covenant, which is what we're currently under, that we are under, then it's not a sin. I'm going to give you guys an example. Earlier in Genesis 9, when you continue on reading, it says we're not allowed to eat the blood of an animal. That's what a life is. That commandment is reiterated in Torah. I believe it's
good point. Yep.
It's reiterated, I believe, in Deuteronomy chapter 12, when it talks about where we're allowed to sacrifice, but then it goes on to say only don't eat the blood of that animal. So there are certain laws, for example, again, the law of not eating blood, that are transferred from the Noahic covenant into the Mosaic covenant. But if it is not explicitly reiterated in the law of Moses, then you cannot call it a sin. I hope that makes sense. Romans 4:15 tells us because the law worketh wrath, for where there is no law, there is no transgression.
Right. Real quick. Somebody said, or Deacon, you saying that we didn't eat meat under Adam because we just gave you the text, bro. Genesis 1:29 was a commandment that we could only eat herbs, and the herbs had to have seed. And then we weren't able to eat meat until Genesis 9. Rewind the video. Keep going.
All right. Proof the Mosaic covenant overrides the Adamic covenant. I
want to reiterate too. So again, yes, eating mushrooms under the Adamic covenant will be a transgression because of that law given. The herb had to have seed, but we're not under the Adamic covenant, and we prove that emphatically. Let's keep going.
The first commandment ever given from God was under the Adamic covenant. In Genesis, the prior verse to verse 29. Verse 28 says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. I can expound unless there's more on the next slide. Perfect. Yeah, there we go. To have children. It said, be fruitful and multiply. But under the Mosaic covenant, you can be a eunuch. Not only that, we have an example Christ was a eunuch, and it says he never sinned. But Genesis 1:28 says, "Be fruitful and multiply." So did he violate the commandments when he was not fruitful and multiplied? No, because Christ is. It tells you in Galatians chapter 4. In Galatians 4:4, it says, "But when the time was fulfilled, what is it?
Made of a woman made under the law."
It says Christ was made under the law. What law was Christ made under? Not the Adamic law, not the Noahic, not the Adamic covenant, not the Noahic covenant. He was made under the law of Moses. So that is the standard that he is held to. So just further proving that we are not held to the standard of the Adamic covenant. We're not held to the standard of the Noahic covenant. We are held to the standard of the Mosaic covenant, which is why every time we go off, let me give you an example, Deacon, right? Priest. In Daniel 9, it says in verse 11, look at this. "Yea, all Israel has transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses." Every time we go off, the Heavenly Father reminds us about the covenant that we made with him and how we're disobeying that covenant. And he doesn't talk about us disobeying the Adamic covenant. He doesn't talk to the Israelites about that. He doesn't talk to the Israelites about disobeying the Noahic covenant. He talks about the Israelites disobeying the covenant he gave them, the Mosaic covenant, the Mosaic law. So, okay, we can keep going. Matthew 19:12. Now look what Christ says furthermore about eunuchs. "For there are some eunuchs which were born so from their mother's womb," meaning
go ahead.
Yeah, so they just cannot repopulate. Like they got something wrong with their family jewels. "And there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men." Some people, in Deuteronomy 23:1, it says, "And he that is wounded in the stones." Maybe somebody went to war and
Salakia, let me just expound on the first part. So the eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb, it could be that you naturally have a reproductive problem, but this is also dealing with an individual or person who is just a insult or an unsub, as we call him. He's just a weirdo. He doesn't know how to talk to girls. He wouldn't even know how to pull the trigger if a woman laid in his bed butt naked. I know and knew some individuals like that who remained virgins until now, not because it wasn't the opportunity didn't present itself, but they don't know, their mind just doesn't compute with how to even function in that union. So that also applies to them, the weirdos who don't know how to pull the trigger even when it's presented. I just wanted to make that clear. Those three types of eunuchs. Go ahead. And then the ones made from men were the ones who got their rods chopped off if they worked in the king's palace, because the king didn't want them to sleep with their women. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says, "And there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake." An example that would be the Apostle Paul.
Right.
It says, "He that is able to receive it, let him receive it." So there are some brothers who say, you know what, I'm going to focus my life on the ministry. I'm not going to worry about you know what, Alan, I used to like you, man. Why are we talking about eunuchs? And the first thing he does is, "Hey guys, here's a son's cash app." Go ahead, Deacon.
I like insult. I like unsubs too. It's an insight. No, I'm looking at a kills message. I like unsubs too. It's an inside joke, brother. But yeah. So this just goes to show you that the Mosaic covenant overrides the Adamic covenant. We had a commandment to be fruitful and multiply, but under the Mosaic covenant, you can be a eunuch and not be in transgression.
Okay. So Acts 8:27, "And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians." So like, Priest said earlier, there would be basically the bodyguards for the queen would have to get their, they wouldn't get their rod cut off. It's hard to be graphic, but they would get neutered. They would get their, I don't know how else to say it, their balls cut off, man, because that they don't have to worry about, the king doesn't have to worry about them, the queen being laying down with them, basically,
or his concubines or any of that.
Right. Isaiah 56:4, "For thus says the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths and choose the things that please me and take hold of my covenant, Even unto them will I give in mine house within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters, and I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Showing you that they're not in transgression by being eunuchs. They're being given a name better than sons and daughters could give you. Yet the Adamic covenant in Genesis 1:28 says to be fruitful and multiply. So that just shows that we're not under the Adamic covenant. We're under the Mosaic covenant. You see? Done. So all praise to the Most High. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. A 2 if it made no sense whatsoever, or you're just not you're just at the 2/3, or not playing.
Or you got questions or smoke.
Yeah, or a 1.5. It's like maybe kind of sort of because you repeat something, maybe you need clarity on something. Okay, all praises to the Most High. Two about Christ being a eunuch. My bad. Well, Christ, according to the book of Ezekiel, will have children, but during his incarnation, we don't see him having any children. And tradition says that he didn't have any kids. But wouldn't that put them in transgression? I don't know what you mean, Ezekiel 37. Wouldn't that put who in transgression? Rebellious slave says, I want smoke. All right. Do we have the link in the chat? And you got, this is smoke specifically for mushrooms and sea moss. So I guess if it means that much to you, then the link will be provided for you. I just got here. How far should I rewind? You should, to be honest with you, this isn't going to be a long broadcast. So you should just go all the way back. Okay, clarify the Noahic covenant point, because that is supposed to be where God promises never to destroy the earth by a flood again. The sign of the covenant is the rainbow. Yes, but that's not the only thing that's in a part of the Noahic covenant. What also was said in Genesis chapter 9 is that Noah and his sons were allowed to eat whatever they wanted. So the part of the covenant that remains is the rainbow, which is the sign that God will not flood the world ever again. But then we see the Mosaic covenant introduced, and it tells us things that we are not allowed to eat. So it overrides that particular part, the dietary restrictions. Was Dr. Sebi a Hamite? I don't know any. I've never seen any evidence that would suggest he is a Hamite. Trying to see. I've seen a couple people ask about tuna. The regular tuna that I see from the stores, I don't see any fins and scales on those. Now I have seen like bluefin, I believe, or yellowfin tuna, something like that appears to have fins and scales. But regular tuna has fins, but it does not have scales. And somebody might say like they have microscopic scales. Our ancestors were not looking at, they didn't have a microscope. Okay, Aaron, go look at that fish. No, when you look at the Hebrew word for scale right there, it's going to tell you something like chainmail. If you aren't familiar with what chainmail is, it's what the knights in medieval Europe used to wear under their armor as an added layer of protection, and it looks just like scales on a fish.
Yeah, but let's say they couldn't see him, but they could grab it and feel it. Pause. I think that we were operating like that as well. Who's this?
Yashawan. What's going on, my brother?
Shalom, okay, what's up, man?
Oh, what's going on, man?
Well, go on. Hey, I want some smoke. I heard everything your brother said. A lot of it makes sense, but critical thinking made me want to ask you this, right? Now, according to the Genesis 1, and I heard Assad said we're not under that, and I understand that, but Genesis 1 said he give you all the herbs on the earth, right? And it make me think, are the creatures on the earth supposed to eat the food of the earth, and the creatures in the sea supposed to eat the food of the ocean?
So then why do you eat lettuce?
you mean why do I eat lettuce? Is that from the ocean?
So you're saying that the things, let me just make sure I'm understanding. Okay, so the things on the earth are supposed to only eat things on the earth, and things in the water should only eat things in the water.
Yeah, that's what I think. A while back, Deacon made a video. Deacon, I don't know if you recall this, but you made a video about Second Ezra 6, talking about Leviathan and what's the other name of the creature?
Behemoth.
Behemoth, right? And you break that down, saying that a Leviathan are the creatures of the ocean, and Behemoth are the creatures to dwell on the earth, right? Now, with that being said, going back now to Genesis 1, are the food on the earth for the creatures on the earth and the food in the ocean for the creatures of the ocean?
Yeah,
Because we have two
fish,
different dwelling places.
yeah, but fish are in the ocean and they're food for us. Specifically, Leviathan, we're allowed to eat Leviathan.
Yeah, but I'm speaking about the vegetable, right? Because you mentioned that the seaweed and stuff is the vegetable of the ocean.
Yeah, but vegetables not the only food though, brother. Like
No,
fish eat other fish.
I got you, Assad. I got you. I ain't arguing with you, right? The
Yeah.
topic is about whether sea moss is unlawful and mushrooms.
Yeah, so
And
we're saying here's what would make it easier. We're under the law. There's no sin unless it's under the law of Moses. You agree with that?
God,
So where in the law of Moses do you feel like it's prohibited?
I ain't lie, I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see that.
Yeah, so we don't want to over complicate it. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be for that? Shouldn't that be for that? But the Most High gave us a codified law so that we could determine what's going on.
Brother. Oh, man.
All right,
Yeah,
King,
I can't argue with that.
all right, King, love you, brother.
I love you.
Shalom. So the brother asked a question. He said, "Would it be a sin for you to chop, for somebody to get their rod chopped?" Pause, man. Pause. But the brother asked that question. Now, this isn't somebody doing it willingly. This is a king who has possession of a servant. And if he does that to them, then he's mutilating him. Well, look, hey, Paul said,
They wish they go mutilate themselves. Yeah.
hey, it's raining so hard out here. Oh my God. Okay, any other questions or link? You guys want to click the link?
Okay, somebody has said, "Hey, King, you spoke on carrageenan. So is that now clean?" Yes. Now, for the record, carrageenan is not good for you. So, if possible, I would recommend avoiding it. But depending on certain, like for ice cream, it's going to be an ice cream unless you find some. There are some ice cream that don't have it, but it's not good for you. But it's not unlawful. Fried chicken isn't good for you, but guess what? I'm going to be eating it, and I will never stop. There's a racist that's going to
listen. If we were under the Adamic covenant, I am very close to keeping those laws under the Adamic covenant, man. I'm not a Presbyterian. I'm a pescatarian. Church.
Yeah. What would the point of you? I'm not going to.
So somebody says, wait, what? So tuna with mushrooms would be great. I mean, if it's the tuna with the scales,
Kanya, the problem is, or not problem, with those type of brushes, they cut the hair off while it's alive. So it's just the carcass that is unclean.
What is it? Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Bro, that's not our position, bro. Like, just rewind the video. Vlogs, bro. Your ears look like mushrooms. Okay, let's answer this real quick. We got a little bit more time left. In the singular form indicating it's one entity creating. So how would you say it's multiple entities creating? The word for Elohim is not singular, it's called singular plural. So the way you determine whether it's singular or plural is by the context. The fact that it says let us lets you know if it should be used as plural there or singular. As far as visible scales, as long as you can feel them, let's say a blind man was fishing. A blind man can fish. You guys just had a right bait. When it tugs, you pull, pause, and then he'll reel it in. He'll grab it, and he can feel the scales. Then
Vlog's brother, if you are one.
don't even worry about him. He's out of here. Bye. Okay, now somebody said, is the Abrahamic covenant done away? The Abrahamic covenant is the promises,
the promised lands,
like things that are reiterated. So in the Abrahamic covenant, you'll see those same things reiterated within the Mosaic covenant. The land promise and the seed promise. We're still the chosen seed. We still are going to get our land. What does it say?
I chat GPT it saying skipjack yellowfin fish is kosher tuna. Can answer this, please. Okay, let's unpack this. He asked chat GPT, and he's asking chat GPT if yellowfin tuna is kosher. I would have to look at yellowfin tuna. And see yellowfin tuna. Let's take a look. Oh, that's mahi, I think. Yellowfin tuna. Does it have scales? I can't see from this picture, but if it has scales, if it has fins and scales, then it's lawful. Yeah, those look like scales to me. I think so, Deacon. What you think? Look at that. I think that's pretty much scales.
I'm sure yellowfin is good.
You see that? Yeah, those are scales. I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah, those look like scales, but yeah, you could get yellowfin tuna and that's another one. But look at this comment right here. Rondo Smith, do you believe in the Bible?
You're a Bucks fan. Like, come on, bro.
Because you have to. He said that's not bluefin, yellowfin, and albacore. Did a marine biology sir? That's what I thought I was gonna say redfin, but yellowfin and bluefin. Yeah, Rondo, like you gotta ask yourself. I can answer this for you, but you gotta ask yourself this question. If you believe in God and you see how these covenants are clearly changing, either there's a contradiction or I can help you out and answer this for you, but you gotta examine yourself. Yeah, I do. I'm just trying to understand. Okay, cool. So when it says the Most High doesn't change, it's talking about his nature.
Yeah.
His nature doesn't change because we can see that he gives us contingency plans. Look at Jeremiah 18. He'll pronounce judgment on the nation, but if the nation repents, then he won't give the judgment that he pronounced on them. That's called a contingency plan. So his nature, he doesn't change in the sense of his nature or his promises too. But there are promises, that means they can't change. But then there's also contingencies. Can we read Leviticus 19:7? Happy new moon, everybody. All praises. Could y'all do in the future do a Mamzer breakdown? That would be good. That would be good. Even though we did that and debated that so many times, there's a new fresh crop of Israelites that need to hear these updated breakdowns for surely.
So we're reading Leviticus 19:7. It says, "And if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable. It shall not be accepted." I've heard certain people say, "See, you're not supposed to have food in the fridge for more than 3 days." So let's see, Leviticus 19, and let's start at verse 5. "And if you offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Lord, you shall offer it at your own will. It shall be eaten the same day you offer it." You eat the peace offering that you give to the Lord the same day you offer it. "And on the morrow, and if aught remain until the third day, it shall be burnt with fire." So you can keep the peace offering. You don't have to eat it for 3 days. "And if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable." So you're not allowed to eat it after 3 days. The peace offerings, not food in general. Yeah, I was messing with you, Rondo. My fault, brother.
Overlapping scales that shed. Okay. So you're saying it has to be heavily scaled. That's what you're saying? Fact check that.
We need a secretary. That's what we need. We need a fact checker.
Hey, I'll be in Wisconsin, Lord willing, at the end of June. I'll be in Green Bay. So make sure y'all pull up on me. I'm doing it gigantic like the Titanic. I'm doing it ginormous out there.
You going to Wisconsin?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to Green Bay.
You going alone? I ain't going to Wisconsin.
Are y'all ever going to do a solid breakdown of Genesis and creation? We already did that plenty of times. They took a lot of our pages down, but I did one in the Genesis Varsity Online Academy, specializing in Hebrew apologetics. Maybe I'll put that out on the YouTube scene.
We might have to, bro. The name is Genesis.
Okay. So yeah, y'all, appreciate y'all, man. Again, if y'all want to donate and support the camp, Cash App, the Deacon Genesis, the Deacon Genesis, money sign the Deacon Genesis. We greatly appreciate y'all. It takes a lot to build a new camp and to do things. All of it takes finances in this society in captivity. But what's more important than that, I hope y'all were edified. And what's more important than that, like and share it so other people can be edified. That's not going to cost you a damn dollar. So anyway, y'all, Hassan, take us out, King. All praises.
With that, we want to give all praises to the Most High in the name of His Son Yahushua, and say all praises. Shalom.
Shalom. Big G's in the chat on the way out.